My name is Jason, and I thought my marriage was perfect until I found texts between my wife and a man I didn't even know. But what happened next? She didn't just cheat, she dragged our entire family into her secret life. And I realized the betrayal ran deeper than anyone could imagine. I know you're wondering how this could happen, but before we dive into the betrayal, please subscribe. Your support keeps this channel alive. Now let me tell you how it all began. It started on a Tuesday night. My wife, Lauren, was in the shower, and her phone lit up on the nightstand. Normally, I never snooped. We trusted each other. But something about the way her screen kept buzzing made my stomach twist. Curiosity pulled me closer. The first message shattered me. Last night was worth every risk. Can't wait to see you again, baby. Eric, a name I didn't recognize. My throat went dry. The chat was full of months of conversations, dates, hotel rooms, intimate jokes, and even pictures she swore only I had. I stood frozen, the steam from the bathroom drifting into the room as my wife hummed a song I used to love. And in that moment, I realized my entire marriage was a lie. When Lauren came out, towel wrapped around her, she smiled at me like nothing was wrong. "What's for dinner?" she asked casually, while her phone buzzed again in my hand. I forced a smile, my jaw tight. "Thinking pasta," I said, slipping her phone back before she noticed. My heart pounded in my chest, but I stayed calm. Too calm. That night, I barely touched my food. I watched her laugh, pour wine, and kiss me goodnight as if she hadn't just ripped my soul apart. But here's where it gets worse. Eric wasn't just some fling. A quick search through social media confirmed my fear. Eric was my cousin. The same cousin who had grown up spending summers at our house. The one my family always compared me to. The golden boy. The betrayal wasn't just between husband and wife, it was between blood. I started connecting dots. Suddenly, the strange excuses at family gatherings, the late work nights, the random trips to visit her friend made sense. Eric had been at every family barbecue, every holiday, every birthday. And now, I realized Lauren hadn't just cheated with him. She'd been parading him in front of me while I smiled like a fool. My hands shook, but my mind turned sharp. I wasn't going to confront her yet. No, Lauren would never see it coming. The next day, I acted normal. Kissed her goodbye, went to work. But inside, I was calculating. I began documenting everything, screenshots, receipts, dates. I wasn't just going to catch her. I was going to dismantle the life she thought she could build on lies. That Friday, Lauren suggested we host dinner for my family. Her idea. Of course. "It's been a while since everyone came together," she said sweetly. I almost laughed. Oh, she wanted Eric under our roof again. Bold. I agreed instantly. "Great idea, babe," I said, hiding the venom in my throat. The night of the dinner, I set the table, poured drinks, and greeted everyone with smiles. Eric walked in late, his eyes locking with Lauren's for a split second longer than necessary. I caught it. They thought they were subtle. Throughout the evening, I played the perfect host. But every laugh, every inside joke they shared, was another knife twisting in my gut. My family had no idea. To them, it was just another cozy dinner. But then, I spotted something that confirmed everything. Lauren's hand brushing against Eric's under the table. Quick, hidden, but not from me. That was the moment I decided this wouldn't just be a quiet divorce. No, Lauren and Eric were about to learn what it meant to betray someone who played the long game. When everyone left, Lauren curled up beside me on the couch. "Tonight was nice, wasn't it?" she whispered, her head resting on my chest. I stared at the ceiling, my hand absent-mindedly stroking her hair. "Yeah," I murmured, though in my mind, the pieces of my plan were already falling into place. And just when I thought I'd seen the worst, fate handed me the final dagger. Later that week, I found emails. Lauren and Eric weren't just sneaking around. They were planning to run away together. New city, new start, and they wanted to take someone with them, my son, Daniel. That's when everything inside me went cold. This wasn't just about my pride anymore. She was dragging my child into her web of lies. And that's when I swore, if she wanted a new life, I'd make sure it cost her everything. The next morning, I sat at the kitchen table, staring at my coffee like it could give me answers. Across from me, Rebecca, my wife, moved around the kitchen, humming, acting like everything was normal. I couldn't unsee the words I'd read on her phone. "Last night was perfect," that stranger had typed. "I wish you could just leave him already." My wife hadn't pushed back, She had laughed in text, teasing him like a teenager in love. I tightened my grip on the mug. Betrayal wasn't just in her words. It was in her eyes when she lied. And now, knowing she was capable of smiling at me in the morning while sneaking into another man's arms at night, I felt something inside me shift. Rage, yes, but also clarity. This wasn't going to end with me broken. No, I was going to play this smarter than she ever imagined. Later that day, I pretended to head out for work. Instead, I circled back and parked down the street. My gut told me he'd show up, and I was right. A sleek black car pulled into my driveway, and out stepped a man I'd never seen before. He was confident, well-dressed, the kind of guy who thought the world bent for him. My stomach dropped when Rebecca rushed out the front door, not sneaky, not hesitant, like she was greeting someone who belonged there. They hugged. Too long. Too familiar. Then she pulled him inside. That moment, standing in the shadows, I knew this wasn't some fling. She had built a life with this man under my nose. I didn't storm in. That would have been too easy. Instead, I waited, memorizing his license plate, his face, every detail I could. If Rebecca thought she was clever, she was about to learn she had married the wrong man to underestimate. That evening, when she came back to bed, I turned toward her and asked softly, "Rough day?" She smiled, kissed my forehead, and whispered, "The usual." I almost laughed. She was lying while wrapped in my arms. The kind of arrogance that blinds people right before they fall. Over the next week, I became two men. The husband she thought was clueless, and the shadow she never saw watching her every move. I tracked her phone locations, checked receipts, even followed her once to a hotel across town. That's where I saw them together again, laughing, drinking, holding hands like high school lovers. And worse, she wasn't trying to hide anymore. She had grown bold, reckless. That arrogance gave me exactly what I needed. But the real knife to the chest came 3 nights later at a family dinner. My parents, her parents, even her sister were there. We toasted, we laughed, and halfway through dessert, her phone buzzed on the table. A message lit up the screen before she could snatch it, counting down until you're finally free. "I can't wait to show your family who you really belong with." The room fell into an awkward silence as Rebecca scrambled to flip her phone face down. My parents exchanged a look. Her sister's eyes went wide. I didn't move. I wanted her to sweat. And she did. Cheeks flushed, hands trembling as she muttered something about work. But deep inside, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't just an affair anymore. She wasn't only lying to me. She was preparing to drag everyone into it. This man wasn't just her secret. He was her next chapter, and she was writing it as if I didn't exist. That night, when she fell asleep, I sat in the dark, piecing it together. She had been planning to humiliate me, not just cheat, but rewrite our family story in front of everyone. And the worst part? If I didn't act fast, she'd succeed. So I started planning. I reached out quietly to a friend in IT, someone who could help me dig into her phone without raising alarms. I got access to her private chats, her cloud backups, her photos. And what I found made my blood boil. She had taken pictures of our son, my son, introducing him to this man in secret. Smiling, laughing, captioned with things like, asterisk, finally feels like a real family. Asterisk, she was rewriting me out of my own life. I stared at the screen until my hands shook. That was the moment I stopped thinking like a betrayed husband and started thinking like a strategist. If she wanted war, she was about to get one, but on my terms. And I wasn't going to just expose her. I was going to make sure everyone saw the truth in a way she couldn't twist or escape. But to do that, I needed patience. I needed her to believe I was still blind, still the fool. Because when I finally revealed what I knew, it would be in front of the exact people she thought she could manipulate, the entire family. So I smiled at her the next morning. I kissed her cheek, poured her coffee, played the part of the oblivious husband. All while inside, I sharpened the knife of her own secrets, waiting for the day she'd fall on it. She thought she was rewriting the story, but the ending? That would be mine to write. And when it came, it would destroy her. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching.